I'm going to do it once.
Hello.
Good evening, guys. James again hasn't turned up. Absolutely shocking. So Lee did so well last week, and everyone seemed to like Lee. So I got Lee back on.
Thanks,
All right,
guys. Yeah, I'm here again. Yeah, good.
Thanks for joining us, mate. No,
Yeah, no worries.
there's actually quite a few questions I want to ask you. So I'm really glad that you came on. Actually, before we go anywhere, someone put a comment in last week's show after we finished, and they said they really want to hear you playing and stuff. So is there anything that you've got online that people can kind of have a quick squiz at? Not now, after the show, people. After the show, maybe we should tell them at the end, just because they're just going to be looking at your back catalogue.
Yeah, let's tell them at the end then.
We'll do that. So have you had a good week?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, not bad. It's getting better all the time though, because I'm just got 6 days off now in a row. So brilliant from work, from the day job. So I don't go back till Wednesday next week.
Lovely. Hold on, but you work at the university. What? And are they back? Are they back at?
No, well, I'm part of the back office. I'm not student facing, so.
So you're working all the way through the summer holidays?
Oh yeah. I work all year round. Yeah, I just get the usual leave allocation that anyone else who works in an office environment would get. Yeah.
So last week you said you had a couple of gigs.
Yep.
That weekend, I think you had 3 gigs.
I had 3 gigs. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And I sent you a little prezi. I sent you because we were talking about it, and actually that was quite a weird thing because. I said to Lee, I've got a little present I'm going to send you because I had a spare one. And then someone was asking questions about it.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing. And then you said, oh, yeah, I used to have one of them. So I sent Lee a Boss GT1 to play with. Look at that. There it is. And he used it for a gig.
I did.
So honest the thing, this isn't like, I don't need this is the best thing ever because you sent it to me. The truth. Compared to your Mua, whatever you've got,
yeah.
How do you find? What do you find the benefits or the, what do you like about it? What do you prefer of each one?
So first of all, as a general point, really, as you probably remember, I kind of built myself this massive great pedal board that had the Victory V4 on it, and it had a delay and a spark boost and all this kind of stuff. And one of the things that I used to find is that when you go from a clean sound to a solo, you have to press on about 5 different pedals. So you have to go from clean, go from clean to drive on the Victory. Then you got to turn the delay on. Then you got to turn the boost on, and then you might have to, if you've got a separate cab in the IR pedal for your solos, you have to press that as well.
Right.
So bit of with this, and this is the same with any kind of multi effects like this. If you program it right, you have one button to press and it turns everything on because it just moves you to a new preset. And I'd miss that, and I'd really, because I programmed this all up with the sounds that I need, and I'd miss the convenience of just pressing one button to go from overdrive to solo to clean to crunch. Brilliant, really good.
Nice.
Tone wise,
yeah.
The only thing I'd say about it, so the cleans are really nice. The edge of breakup, crunchy sounds are really nice as well. With the control button, I was able to program in a little bit of a boost on that crunchy channel as well. So it just got a little bit louder and a little bit crunchier for when I wanted to poke out of the mix.
Nice.
The out and out distortion sound for chunky rhythm parts, which was the same sound again I used for solo. So I'd use the control button to boost it up a bit, make it a bit louder, and put some delay on.
Yeah.
It feels, and I guess I'd still need to tweak it, and maybe you can give me some advice on what bits to tweak. It just sounds and feels a little bit kind of sterile, a bit plasticky almost.
That's interesting. Right. No, I mean it's not Boss's top end unit, so that makes it all makes sense. I wonder if that is tweaks. I mean, I found it. I never used it. I've never used one live. I've only sort of done videos of it in the studio, and I was really impressed with it. I was really impressed with how it sounded. But then, live is completely different.
Sounds great here. Sounds great at home. Sounds great in the studio. Sounds great through my monitors, and I've recorded a few bits with it, and all that sounds brilliant. And even turning the cab off inside and using a separate IR sounds brilliant and really good. But it's just that kind of sterile, kind of plasticky feel with the high gain tones.
Right. Understood. Yeah. Understood. I wonder. I can't remember how much choice you've got of different speaker models. I can't remember what.
Yeah, they're all kind of their own as well. It says sort of 1x8, 1x10, 1x12, 2x12, 4x12, and they all kind of sound roughly the same to me. There's tiny little minute differences between them. But but the wah's really good as well. The wah, I said it to there's a thing in there called a fat wah. Sounds brilliant. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of all right for me. Fat wah. Yeah, it sounded great because I'm quite, again, as you know, a lot of guitarists are, we're picky about things, and I'm picky about my wah sound, and I do like a real wah. Yeah. And all of the multi-effect wahs have all been shit, but the fat wah in this is really good. Really good.
I've got to say, so I think for you, if you want to, if you like that whole big pedal board setup with the Victory unit, the Victory preamp, and then some other pedals, just get yourself like a switcher. So then, like something like, I mean, I've got a Boss ES8, but you can get an ES5, the smaller one, and then you can have all of those combinations by one pedal switch, and then all of those things then come on, and then you can change your amps and you could do all of that. So if you really love that analog side, analog sound and that analog workflow, maybe that's the way to go.
More stuff to cart about, though, isn't it? This is nice and tiny. I like this.
That's true. Yeah, that will fit in your gig bag, which is true. Right, let's get to a couple of questions. Pet, first of all, thank you, Pet. You are the man. Thank you very much for your constant generosity. What I've done, Pet's asked a question. He said, "What do your knobs look like on your Bad Cat for single coil stroke humbuckers?" Shahar Bar kicked in after that, saying, "It's generally considered impolite to ask to look at another man's knob. But you did pay, so perhaps you will oblige." So, oblige. There we go. And he's corrected himself. Okay. Shahar is always there for the jokes. Here we go. Right. So I've basically taken a picture of my. Hold on. Let me share my screen. Windows. Click on that. There we go. So there is my settings for the Bad Cat, for my Bad Cat. Now, that's mainly for single coils. If I was going to use, okay, this is how I use it. So you see, you've got these switches here. I'll explain to you as well. You've got like an EF86 and the 12AX7 switch. Yeah. That changes like the preamp valve. From EF86 so 12X7 to EF86, you get a bit more gain out of it. It's like a boost. It's like a gain boost on it. Then you've got a boost function where you can add more gain to it or more volume. So it's a really versatile amp. But mine is the Mark III. I think Pet's got the Mark IV. But if I was going to put humbuckers in that, I might just bring the volume back a little bit and then probably just bring the bass back a little bit. I don't use the tone control. You've got a switchable tone control, so you can either use on this, you can either use the bass and the treble controls, or you switch in the tone control, and you've got like presets on that control that says tone, and it basically mimics all of the matchless amps, I would say, because that's where it was invented. All the sort of matchless. Right. So yeah, Pet, that's how I'd set it.
What does K Master mean?
So K Master is something that Bad Cat came up with. It's basically a master volume that sounds great because like when you get like a top end sort of valve amp, you wind all the master back, you wind the master back, and it sounds thin and crap. Yeah. Especially with Marshalls. Yeah. Or even amps without a master volume. That's why I always use attenuators. If I'm using a proper amp, attenuators, and then you can really crank it. So the K Master acts like a really clever master volume where you can have it really quiet, almost bedroom quiet, and it still sounds great. It doesn't sound thin, it doesn't sound weak. And then as you crank it, it sort of it does change tone, but it doesn't change as much as like any other amp. Even my my matchless or whatever, you turn the master volume down, it's like, no, you need it at least sort of 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
Nice.
So
did you see that? I don't suppose you did. I bet James might have seen this, but because Porcupine Tree have recently reformed, which is Stephen Wilson's band, and they did a photograph from their rehearsal this week, and he's using. Look, can you see that? He's using 2 4x12 Bad Cats with heads on top.
Wow,
in stereo.
Jesus. That's a big. It's funny, isn't it, with Porcupine Tree? I mean, yes, you're definitely right asking about James there, because that's definitely James's sort of music than mine. Yeah, anything that's not 4/4 or 6/8, mate, you can forget it with me. I'm not so yeah, like they're a funny band, aren't they? Because they're quite a sort of cult band.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
if you said to sort of Joe Public, have you had a Porcupine Tree? They go, who? Stephen Wilson, who?
Yeah.
But all musicians know about him.
Yeah. I used to go and I first saw him in about 1999. I think he was Porcupine Tree was supporting Dream Theater, and it was the first time I saw them.
Oh, interesting. That's a perfect match, I guess.
Yeah, it was a great gig. Yeah, so I've followed him for just over 20 years now.
Yeah, so, and you still buy the albums, do you? And
not on CD anymore. I think actually the last time I bought a CD was probably about 2008 or something. You start subscribing to Apple Music, and you just don't tend to buy CDs anymore. That's and for someone who releases CDs personally, both solo and with bands, that's terrible. Because I'm selling CDs all the time, but I can't actually play them myself.
Well, they are. Then this is something we could talk about. We could talk about a little bit later on, where you can tell people where they can go and hear your stuff. Right, K Michael P says, "Howdy, y'all. Good to be able to see you today. We all need more stuff, so let's have it. What an absolutely beautiful day it is." So I think K Michael P was in prison last week or something. He was saying.
Oh right, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
something about that. So we need.
He got out near the end of the show, though, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we'd like to hear more about that. Dave McQuillan, good evening, guys. Hope you're having a great week. Do you know what? I pulled out all of my Highland Plectrum Company plectrums.
I still haven't checked these out yet.
Mate, you've got to do it.
I have to go and get one, won't I?
Yeah, so there's you might recognise if I show you. I don't know if you can see the camera's going to focus.
Okay.
It's the old 10p. The old. Yeah, no, well worth checking out. And I've got some. What have I got there? I think I've got one unusual one somewhere. What's this? I don't know where that's from. Yeah, he makes great plectrums. Or David, you make great plectrums. So, yeah, everyone go and check them out. Well worth checking out. Chris Williams, evening, guys. Evening, Chris. Shahar, we're all friends here.
Indeed.
David Pavos in the house. Good evening, all. Evening, David.
Evening.
Shep, evening, all. Evening, Shep. Mike's in the house. You have Leon. Is that legal? Dad jokes. We like dad jokes. Shahar Bar says, "Where's the curly-headed one?"
Yeah, where's Simon Phillips?
Simon Phillips, yeah. Curly-headed one is on holiday in the Isle of Wight, which is a island on the south coast, Shahar, in the UK.
Not far from me.
No, not far from you, actually.
Literally just a pebble's throw over the water. Yeah.
Yeah. So James goes to the Isle of Wight every year, and I'm trying not to make any offensive jokes, and it's really hard sort of doing this. Hope he didn't bury himself in concrete building that studio. There we go. Lee looks like a life-size Dilbert. What's Dilbert?
Thanks very much. It's a cartoon character, isn't it? Like a Stills cartoon.
Is it?
Like they used to put in the newspapers. Yeah. It looks like I think he's just some office worker that basically argues with his colleagues all day. I think. Thank you.
Well, I've been insulted by Shahar, so it's part of the course. Paul Taylor, what's that? Oh, look at that. What's that head he's got there? I want to know what that amp is. Hi lads, seen every show, but first live for a while. Ordered the Boss RE202. It's been nearly 5 months on order. Is it worth the wait, Paul? Wow. Hi, Paul. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. If you like that sort of multi-head tape echo sort of sound, you'll love it.
Oh, is that tape echo Space Echo thing, whatever.
Yeah, I've got it out. I've got it in my. Actually, it's at the front of my pedal cabinet here. Let me.
Oh yeah.
Hold on.
Right.
One of those bad boys.
Yeah.
It's fun, isn't it? Like all of these, like all of these units that these companies are making are really, they've been really struggling to get them out because of the lack of chips and.
But to me, that's a lot of real estate for a pedal that does one thing.
Yeah, it is. It's, but then if you're going to buy an RE201, which is
right
like that, and weighs a ton, and has tape that you've got to change. I mean, I know it's a digital version of it and stuff, but yeah. It is a lot of real estate. It's got quite a few knobs on it. It's got quite a few things. I don't know how else they could have done it to make it smaller. They could have made it a little bit smaller. Yeah. But then I think that's Boss's, like when they brought out the one of Boss's first pedals, was it C1 or C2?
Yeah, it was like a chorus pedal, wasn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's basically that enclosure, or that's what we wanted it looking like, that those old vintage. You'll have a lot of fun. You'll have a lot of fun with that, Paul. Keith says building a new small pedal board and just picked up a new board in the States from a company called Morton. It's very cool design, all modular, so you can build whatever you. Hold on. I found it there. So you can build whatever you like, well built. Let's have a quick look. Morton.
Yeah, there's another company that brought out these adjustable pedal boards. Was it Duradio brought them out?
Diodario. Yeah. They
brought out one, and you could kind of like slot the side out, and it became longer.
Yes. Let's have a look. Okay. So let's have a look. Let me share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Share screen. No, let's do it that way. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, that's cool, isn't it? So you can basically all of these bits then just sort of screw on.
Okay.
They're quite. They're reasonable as well.
Yeah, right. You could buy just a couple of little ones, or one huge one, or one huge one and one little one, presumably, and they all fit together.
Yeah, nice. It's about quick look. Yeah, so there we go. So there's you can see a. Oh yeah, they look great.
Yeah, I like the way they're kind of tall, aren't they? So they hide all the wiring underneath.
Yes. Yeah, that's. Oh, look at. Oh, I like that. That's great. And they're not too. Yeah, they're not that unreasonable, are they? Price wise. No. Keith's got some really nice gear, so I'm not surprised he's. I'd like to see what's on there, Keith. When you've done that, Keith, give us come on the show and show us the board. John Wallace says, afternoon, fellow guitarists.
Afternoon or evening, as it is here now.
It's getting dark, mate. It's all winter's coming, isn't it? Rubbish.
Yeah.
Jonathan McCulloch says, hi chaps, I'm wanting a second 1x12 cab. I have a Mesa Boogie and I'm torn between Engel and Marshall to go stereo. I want to get a BBE Sonic Maximizer to come out from my Kemper. Any advice, please, guys?
First of all, what kind of speaker is in the Mesa Boogie? That's the thing.
Mesa Boogie, yeah, it depends on how old it is. It could be
it might be a V30.
It could be a V30. It could also be a what are the really heavy ones that I used to have? I used to have a Boogie cab with those really heavy speakers. Yeah, I can't remember what
they used to make their own. They used to make their own, didn't they? Was it label their own? Was it Black Widow or something? Was it
Black Widow? Yes, I think there was Black Widows. I think they were rebadged, but or tweaked. They were made by whoever. God, who made those speakers? Anyway, okay. What would you do? So if it sounds to me like you're into
metal.
More of the metal stuff.
I mean, the Engel's probably got a V30 in it already, isn't it? If he goes for an Engel cab. It's difficult to know without speaker choices here. Speaker choice is really what you're looking for, rather than the wooden box that's around the speaker.
I think those Mesa Boogie cabs are really good. I used to have one. I think I would go for. I mean, yeah. I actually think I'd go for anything. If you like the sound of your Mesa Boogie and you just want to go stereo, so you want to have a different sound. Yeah. Do you want to have a different sound, or do you want to have the same? Do you want to have like the perfect sort of stereo image where? In which case, I think I would go and get another speaker exactly the same as what you've already got. And I think that would match and it would look better if you're worried about the aesthetics of things. Yeah. Lee, have you ever used the BB Sonic Maximizer?
Yes.
I think in the Kemper there's a Maximizer emulation. I'm pretty sure there is. Lee's gone.
You hear a difference.
Oh really? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. See, I used to have the rack version.
That's right. That's what this guy.
Yeah. So when I had a big sort of guitar rack full of gear back in the 90s, and I ran it through, and I think nowadays do you need it because there are, I think in those days we were using so much equipment and we didn't have buffers, and now there's decent buffers. And so if you're looking for a pedal, there's a pedal company called, is it 19? And they basically do a modern version of a BB Maximizer. It's like a really good buffer. So the Sonic Maximizer, for anyone that didn't know, what it used to do is, I can't remember what frequency travels further, but bass frequencies travel faster than treble frequencies. And basically what the Sonic Maximizer used to do is to put them together. So
allegedly. So they hit your ears at the same. That was the point, wasn't it? All the frequencies hit your ears at the same time. That was the point, I think.
Yeah. And I personally, I liked it. I liked the rack version.
I couldn't tell a difference.
well, they are. So I think that tells you. I think I'd give it a go. You're obviously going to go for the rack version because if you're going to go out of your Kemper, but just check first. There's not a Sonic Maximizer or an enhancer inside the Kemper that does the same job. It might do a better job.
The best gear is the gear you've already got.
Unless you're like me, or the best gear is the stuff that's calling you for reverb.
But you haven't bought yet.
Yeah. Paul Taylor says, "Hi lads, love the show. Seen everyone, but it's the first one live for a while." Oh no, we've done that one, haven't we? They're repeating for some reason. Part 2 of the question from Jonathan says, "I'm hoping the BB will add a little bit of that direct feel sometimes the Kemper misses out on. Other than that, want a second great quality Rumble cab."
That's interesting. He wants to get away from the direct feel. Sometimes with these modelers and multi-effects and things, you're trying to... Sorry, he's saying he wants to add a bit of the direct feel. Sometimes you're trying to get away from that direct feel, aren't you? So that's an interesting comment.
I think it is interesting. And I think I know what he means. I think, like, when you're at home... So first of all, when he's at home, he's got his Kemper plugged in. I'm imagining he's listening to the Kemper in stereo.
Yeah.
So he's missing out on that live because he's only got one cab. So he's already adding. So he's already going to go back to that where he's going to feel like, I think what Jonathan means is that sort of studio feel.
Oh, okay. He wants to get the sort of home feel live on stage.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing that's what he means. I'm guessing, sort of reading in between the lines.
In-ear monitors, then.
I personally, I would go. I mean, yeah, but if Jonathan's in a loud sort of rock metal band, I mean, I'm guessing he might be in, like, for all I know, he might be in a little country.
Well, you can still have the cabs on stage and have in-ear monitors. That would give you the direct, straight into your brain sound of the guitar. Plus, you'd have got the atmospherics and all the bass and everything from the cab on stage.
Yeah. I'm about to do a video for Sennheiser on in-ear monitors. So, yeah, it might be worth you looking out for that, Jonathan. But I think Lee's right there. I think if you want that sort of studio sound, which I'm guessing that's what you mean by the direct feel, because I'm sure you don't mean like a DI'd sort of sound. I think, okay. So as soon as you get that second cab, you're already going to be feeling that. Personally, I think if you've got a Kemper, you might want to think about getting the Kemper cabs.
Yeah.
So selling your Mezzo-Boogie and getting a couple of Kemper cabs, because you're definitely going to get that more sort of FR full range frequency response sort of sound out of it. And so I'd have a look at that before you start buying other cabs. And other than that, I think Lee's right about in-ear monitors, because I love in-ears.
Yeah.
And you do as well, don't you, Lee? Or you've got some, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah, we're moving over to them. Yeah, and I mean, if you still keep a cab on stage, I mean, because some people tend to do that as well. Some of the bigger bands as well, they're having in-ear monitors and they're having their usual cabs on stage as well. Yeah, best of both worlds there.
Yeah, I agree. Funny enough, so with this Sennheiser video that I'm doing, there's going to be a giveaway of the in-ear monitors that I'm doing, and they're really good. They're really good. Yeah. Sennheiser's really good stuff. So keep your eyes peeled. Richard Paul says, "Oh, I love that guitar. See, that's giving me."
I can't see that. I've just got a blank little circle next to his name. I can't see that.
Oh, you can't see that. You can't see. It's a lovely blue jean burst Les Paul.
Nice, cool, nice.
Richard says, "Hi chaps, either of you tried the DSM and Humboldt Deluxe analog stereo 0-watt? Amazing bit of kit."
No, I've watched an awful lot of videos on this bit of kit. It came out right when lockdown started in March 2020. I remember it was one of the first videos I watched when Andertons were doing their thing where they had one guy in one studio and another guy in another. Yeah, it looked good. There's still something about a cabinet sound which is being generated by an analog filter that still doesn't quite do it for me. It's good on cleans, I'll give it that. But when it comes to overdrive sound, there's that sort of almost fluffy kind of sound that it generates. And that's just purely down to it being an analog filter in terms of the cabs. There's no IR in these DSM devices. They're completely analog. There's nothing digital about them at all.
Oh, interesting.
And also there was a video by John Cordy where he said he had terrible trouble with it whenever he was putting, because it's got an effects loop as well. Whenever he was putting stuff in the effects loop, it was just causing terrible audio overdrive and glitches, and it didn't matter what he did. In the end, he sent it back. I'm not sure whether he bought one or whether he sent one for evaluation, but he said, well, this might be a fault just with this one I've got, so I'm sending it back to say that it just doesn't work with anything plugged in the loop. And I think he never that was the last time he ever spoke about DSM, so he either had another one sent to him and he found the same issue and said, right, I'm not dealing with that anymore, or maybe DSM said, don't try any of our stuff again.
He's a guy that's definitely embraced the whole modular
digital
sort of workflow. So and he's very 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 good. And he's got a good set of ears on him. So I would say
it was just that fluffiness from the analog cab sim that didn't impress me. Not enough for me to even go and try one, let alone buy one.
Is that so? I've got a picture of it up, and I was let me share again.
Yeah, they do two versions, a white one and a black one.
Ah, okay. So this one here.
Yeah, that's the black one. That's the sort of deluxe version.
So what's it got on it? It's got quite a lot of.
It's got three different types of preamp in it, based on I think Fender, Vox, and Marshall.
Right.
For argument's sake, so it's got all the regular things you'd expect with that, like a bass, middle, and treble, a gain, and a volume. Then it's got a power amp emulated section where you can flip between 6L6, EL34, and EL84, I think.
Right.
and then it's got a cab section where you can switch.
Oh, it's a KT88 EL34.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay, KT88.
Yeah.
And then there's a cab section where you can flip between 1x12, 2x12, and 4x12, I think. And you can do the cabs independently. So there's 2 channels.
Right.
And you can have, say, a 1x12 on the left and a 4x12 on the right. That sort of stuff. That sort of
setup. Okay. So like you can do all of that with. I'll show you. Actually, let me come back. Here we go. Stop screen. You can do all of that with.
Yes. Yeah, that's another good one.
The ACS one. The only thing I'd say about this is that I haven't done a review of this because I just want to make sure that everything that I talk about is correct with Walrus at the moment.
And that's all digital. That one. That's similar to the Iridium, isn't it?
Yeah.
So digital modelling and cab IRs.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's. But what you can do with this, like the Simplifier, then is you can switch it over to the left, and then you can have like a Marshall, a Vox, or a Fender, and then switch it over to the right. Still keep the one on the left, and then change it, have a different amp, and then have different speakers on left and right. So, but again, and load in your own IRs. The only thing I'd say about this one, I don't know what the Humboldt Deluxe is, but there's not a lot of gain out of these.
Yeah, I don't think there is in the Simplifier either.
Okay, so similar thing. So if that's what you're looking for, you might want to look at that because it's really good. It's half the size.
Well, if that does the amps left and right, that's better than the Simplifier because I think the Simplifier is only the cab.
Oh yeah,
you can split left or right.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, you can. You can use the amps, different amps on the left and right. It's MIDI as well, so you can do lots with it. It's stereo in, stereo out, which I thought was really good. So you can, add in other effects and stuff, some stereo effects, and do a lot of switching from the MIDI.
And it's small.
It's small, yeah. It's tiny size of it's bigger than a Boss pedal, but it's that sort of size.
Yeah, great.
Sort of standard, sort of compact.
Does it run on 9-volt? That?
Yeah. 9-volt, 300 milliamp.
Brilliant. You're laughing there.
The only thing for me is that you'd need a lot of other things to go with it. Yeah. So, and this is what I'm talking to Walrus about at the moment is, it doesn't do. I mean, it's to me, if I get a Fender amp and I crank it up, it distorts in a very certain way. If I get a Marshall amp, I turn it up, it distorts in a very certain way, and the same with the Vox. And even though these have amazing characteristics of those amps, in the clean sort of settings, great if you're doing clean stuff, but with that you definitely have to add other pedals before it to get a full rig out of it.
Yeah, sure.
Shahar says Arch Echo is the latest nerd instrumental prog band. Arch Echo, if you're into that kind of thing. Do you know Arch Echo?
I've not heard of them, no, but I know that there are quite a few nerdy instrumental prog bands that are around these days. Loads of them.
I was listening to one today, and I won't say the name of the band because, there's a reason why I can't say the name of the band. But right. I was just going, "What is going on?" It's just like it was odd for odd's sake.
Yeah, there's not an awful lot of melody going on in some of these things. I like a lot of melody in my music, even if it's instrumental. I mean, obviously a lot of melody comes from vocals, but if it's an instrumental band, I think you can still build in a lot of melody. But like you say, some of these bands just go crazy, and it sounds like they're just going crazy for the sake of it.
Yeah.
What I can do, Mum.
K. Michael P. Closer to the Mike Lee. Prison was doing chores. Was doing chores.
Oh, I see.
Honey, do this and that. I.e., honeydews. I see.
Right.
Got all these American.
Yeah, we got it now. Yeah.
I see. Because I remember a few months ago, K. Michael P. said his wife was in prison or something. So we were desperate to find out about that. So it all kicks off over in Florida, mate. It's all kicking off.
Yeah.
Karen Sammy, can you use the main outs right and left on a mixer to connect to 2 guitar amplifiers using XLR to mono cables? God, that's a really good question. Okay. Yes.
Will the impedance match up okay?
Yes, and exactly. Yeah, Lee's right. So I mean, it depends how much you care about impedance. First of all, so what you could do if you want to do that, I don't know why you'd want to connect a mixer to the amp, but if you do want to do that, the best thing to do is to get a reamp box. So it's basically it's the opposite of a DI box. Think of it that way, where you're going balanced out into or low impedance to high impedance. It does that. But yeah, there's no reason why you can't. And to be honest, you could try that. You could try it without using it and just see how you get on. I don't think it's damage.
But would a stereo delay or a stereo reverb pedal just not do exactly the same thing?
Well, it depends on what he's trying to do. Is he trying to put? Is he trying to like? It it depends. Maybe he's got some strange routing with a bunch of effects, and he's mixing in all those effects into the amp. I don't know. Yeah. Let us know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Let us know what you're doing because I'd like to know more about that. David Minogue says, "Hi everyone, played my Katana live with your presets, Paul, and they work great. Oh, brilliant. My pedal board cracked out, so I had to use the amp alone, and it saved the weekend of gigs. Many thanks." Oh, nice one.
It's surprising, isn't it, when you you take along a load of gear to a gig, and something might happen, and it forces you to just either use your backup or just one part of your rig that you've got with you, which is incredibly simple, but it almost sounds just as good, and you think, why am I fussing bringing all this stuff and having all this wonderful stuff when this thing on its own sounds great?
Yeah,
and everybody's still clapping after the songs, and everybody's still dancing. So.
It's so true. It is that is so true. Yeah, great. I mean, the Katana's great. Yeah. It's fun, isn't it? I think if Boss priced it at $1,000, okay, it wouldn't have sold as well, without a doubt. But then I think people would have just gone, "Oh, this is some sort of special bit of gear that's, maybe be a bit more respected in the more sort of pro market." I don't know. But yeah, really good. Pet says, "Cheers for that, Paul, and hello to Lee. My bad cat has a depth knob instead of a tone. I asked as my Brent Mason telly has fancy pickups. It does have fancy pickups, those Brent Masons. That's a nice guitar."
So a depth knob, that's just going to kind of expand a certain bass frequency, I guess, is it?
I would have thought so. I would have thought it's like it's probably a cut, like an AC30 type cut the other way around. So yeah, that's going to be different to mine. Just use that. I mean, I imagine the depth control is probably just reducing the highs and bringing in the lows, and you probably find at 12 o'clock it's probably neutral both, and it's probably like a tilt EQ, that sort of thing. Interesting. I'll have to try one out. Collie Hopper. Hi, do I need pedals for the Boss Katana 100 Mark II, or can I create every tone with the combo? I think you can create every tone with the combo.
Yeah, just about. If you're going to play live, I guess you need a foot switch to go with the Katana, but
yeah, get the GAFC foot switch. Really good, and you can then switch between all your different presets. No, I mean it depends. If you've got pedals that you really like, the Katana takes pedals really, really well. So if you particularly like those pedals, I did a video where we compared the pedals, or some of the pedals inside the Katana, for their actual sort of analog counterparts. So I think I did a Klon and a, I don't know, Blues Driver or something like that. And I do think the pedals come off better. So if you like using your pedals, probably stick to your pedals. The Katana is a great pedal platform.
Yeah, so you're okay putting drives in the front of a Katana?
Yeah, works great.
Did you ever put a drive pedal in front of a Line 6 pod?
Oh, really? No, I've never done that. Is that a shocker?
Yeah, that's not good.
You can't see. I've got a pod. No, you can't see.
Yeah, I remember your video. Yeah.
It's funny. It's you know,
they underwent a little bit of a revival about a year or two ago, didn't they?
did they?
Well, you did a video, and Ola England, the guy from Sweden, he did a video on it as well, and his video went massive. And I noticed that all of a sudden, when Line 6 pods used to exchange money for about 35, 40 quid on eBay, certainly after that Ola England video, they were suddenly reaching sort of 85, 90. You know.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if who did it first out of me or Ola, but I mean, and obviously he's got a much bigger channel. I'm just trying to see how many views my pod video's done.
But I think it just goes to show how important an IR is to a lot of these sounds.
Yeah.
Because if you turn off the internal speaker in the pod and put it through a modern day IR, it actually sounded really, really good.
Yeah. 105,000. My video on the 105,000 views.
Nice. Yeah.
On excellent. It's called Line 6 Pod, a classic or a pile of shit. thought I'd go for the
go for the jugular.
Yeah, go for the jugular. Where are we? Charbar says TC Electronics re-released their classic SCF Plus pedal in gold.
Oh, is this the chorus?
Yeah, I've got one.
Yeah,
I've got one. Yeah. Yeah, good, really good. And so now they've got a gold bling bling version.
Yeah, TC make great pedals. Got a lot of time for TC.
Yeah, they do, don't they? And not overpriced as well.
If you're looking for a light overdrive, their Mojo pedal's really nice.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've never tried one. That's it's like a Klon sort of style thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of I would just call it a light overdrive pedal. I wouldn't say it's got a great deal of tone about it. It just adds a bit of grit to whatever tone you have already.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's about 40 quid.
Oh, great.
Can't go wrong.
Can't, can you? Dave Minogue says, just ordered the Air Step cat for it. Just don't tell the why yet. The wife, I'm guessing. Yeah, they're good. Yeah, the Air Step cat editions. It's really good. Takes a bit of setting it up. Once you've done that, you'll be laughing. Pet Moxie Gear Envy, my friend.
Yeah.
Keith. Oh, Keith's got some nice stuff though. Keith's got some damn nice gear. Thomas Nonson says, all I could think of when I got out of bed was the Studio Rats.
Ooh.
Then I forgot by the time I got to my office. Belated good morning from Brisbane. Cheers, Thomas.
Oh, right. Yeah, this is about 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 8 o'clock Thursday morning in Brisbane, I guess, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it?
Roughly, something like that, I would think. Yeah.
Oh, mate, don't get... Well, I don't know if it's your company, Thomas, in which case, watch us all day long. But don't get yourself into trouble if it's not. Z-Pep says, hello, Studio Rats. Hi, Z-Peps. Getting ready to go on tour with my Katana 50 and the S-Step. See, loads of Katana questions.
Yeah.
Just having some trouble setting the volume between the patches. Stay cool.
Stay cool.
Oh, stay cool. What would I do volume for the patches? Set all your rhythm patches at one volume. Actually, get a volume pedal. Definitely get a volume pedal, an expression pedal for the Katana, and plug it into the you've got a Katana 50. Oh, you've got an Air Step. Oh, that makes it more complicated. Yeah, you're just gonna have to go through those patches, mate, and then just tweak them. But set your rhythm patches at a certain level, and then make sure you get a nice boost.
What I always find with setting different volumes between presets on any kind of unit that I've used in the past is it's the sort of edge of breakup crunchy tones it's very easy to set those really, really, really loud, and they end up being louder than your main. If you, like me, I then have a next step up. I have like a really overdriven rhythm, not quite a metal tone, but a hard rock tone. And then that one goes really, really quiet because I've set it too quiet, because I'm sat here at home with my monitors on trying to get the volumes right. And I think, to cut through, I need to make that crunchy, lighter drive sound really loud. So I set the volume of that quite loud. Then I go over to the next chunky overdriven sound, the hard rock sound. And I think I set the volume right between the two. But then you get to a gig and the the hard rock tone is always quieter. I don't know why. It's just always quieter.
It is. You're so right. It is. It is always that, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know why that is, but it's yeah. You always set like your lead or your distorted, your overdriven tone is always quieter. Yeah. Yeah. Just I'd really recommend, if you can, just doing it at sort of gigging volume.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I've done that a few times. Gone to a rehearsal room, just gone in there on your own, set up all your stuff and blast it really loud. Yeah. Play along to an MP3 or something as well through your phone. Put an MP3 through the desk so you can balance it against kind of a live band.
Great. Yeah, great suggestion. Shahar Bar says Electro Voice. Yes, Electro Voice were the speakers they used to put in.
Is that what's in the Mesa Boogie?
It could be. So the older sort of 80s, 90s Mesa Boogies had EVs, and they were
right.
They were so heavy because they were really overpowered speakers. So basically, if you had a 50-watt Mesa Boogie, these speakers are rated 150 watts. So you're never gonna distort the speaker. So you get those ultra sort of clean, pristine tones. Thanks, Shahar. Thomas Ross says, could you do a Blackmore Katana preset playing a PRS SE pulse? Got the artists because the controls are on the front. Nice one. Yeah, no.
You'd have to get some kind of pagan hat then to wear while you're doing it.
But yeah, definitely. What is Richie Blackmore you've got a PRS pulse guitar, which is humbuckers.
He was a single coil player though. He's a Strat single coil man.
Strat guy, yeah. And he's got a very unusual tone, isn't he? I'll have a look. I'll look into it, Thomas. I'll definitely look into it. Wobbly guitar. Hold on, I can't click on it. Show. Here we go. Wobbly guitarist. He says, hello, loving your captures of the Divided by 13, taking the quad Cortex for the first time this weekend. Supporting an Aussie soap star, lol. Any more Jamiroquai? I haven't got around to doing any more of those sort of music industry story gigs. Sometimes I think I took it quite close to the wire with the Jamiroquai one, and I didn't want to. And it's really hard not to upset people.
Yeah, it was interesting though. It was interesting to hear your take on how it went.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cheers, mate. But yeah, I'll have a think. I'll see what I can get away with. And I just need to go forward a couple because Mr. Thomas Baran has sent €10. Cheers, Thomas.
Well done,
really kind of you. He says, just wanted to say, have a pint on me, guys. Cheers. Always good to listen to your Q&A live. Cheers, Thomas.
Cheers. I shall have a squash.
Yeah, a squash. Yeah, great. Enjoy the. Someone actually did is gigging, or someone sent me a message that they're gigging with that Divided by 13 capture, and they liked it, and they said it works really, really well. So hopefully you'll get on with that, Wobbly. And
was that just about the only amp you profiled in the Quad Cortex before you got rid of it then?
I can't remember. Did I profile the Marshalls? I might have profiled the Marshalls too. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's good. I'd really like to try Quad Cortex again because now they've done all the updates and they've really improved it. I'd really like to see it. I bet it's great now. And
the interface is still the same. And you said the interface was one of the reasons you didn't like it. Is that right?
No, I think from what I remember, the interface was the thing that I liked. I really liked the touch screen.
Okay, I'm misremembering what you didn't like.
I think what happened is that I was using it, and then Boss sent me the GX100 to do some videos on, and I plugged in the GX100 and I went, hold on, and I was like, plugging between the two, and I went, I actually prefer the GX100.
Really? Wow.
So at the time, it's different now. I think Neural DSP have updated it. I mean, it's a brilliant interface. The whole touch screen and again, you can have complete option paralysis for this.
Yeah.
Wobbly Guitar said EV12M. Yeah, that's the Beza Boogie speaker. Thank you. HB says, what's he got? He's got a nice car there. What's that? I'm trying to think what that is.
Is that an Audi or something?
It looks a bit Audi, doesn't it? Nice. What Forever amp did you finally end up with? That one. There we go. That one there.
That's the Independence, is it?
Yeah, the Independence 35. Yeah, that's my sort of favorite recording amp. And I've got the Bad Cat over there, the Cub 30. I use that for if I ever need to go out with an amp live. But if I'm recording an amp in the studio, it would be the Matchless.
So the Independence will never go out to a gig then?
Only for one reason. It's the effects loop is absolute dog shite.
Right.
And it hasn't got reverb. So yeah. So this is what the thing about Matchless is, and apparently this is the reason. The preamp, the way that they build the amp, the preamp is slamming into the power amp.
Yeah.
It's like some circuitry that makes it, and that's how you get that Matchless sound, which is fantastic. You plug something into the effects loop. It's got an effects loop. Plug something into the effects loop. It distorts what's going into the front of the effects loop, and then completely messes up the sound. It sounds completely different. So you can buy something called a clinulator, which I bought, and it didn't work very well for me.
It sounds like exactly the sort of problem that John Cordy was finding with that simplifier thing.
Oh, really?
The simplifier people were going for that Matchless. You know, they were trying to get it exactly right, so they even messed up the effects loop. So
but it's funny because like companies like Friedman, Dave Friedman builds a fantastic effects loop, and so Matchless and Two Rock, two of the most expensive amp manufacturers you can get.
Yeah,
both bad effects loops. So it just doesn't make sense to me. Why they didn't sort that out, or don't put an effects loop on it.
Yeah.
I don't. There we go. D-Max says, "Hi guys. Other than the extra speaker, is there any advantage of a 2x12 Katana versus the Katana 100?"
So is the Katana 100? Is it a 1x12?
Yeah.
Right. You're going to get more resonance on stage from 2x12. At home, no difference. No, go for a 1x12 at home. If you do gigs and you use an amp loud at a gig, you'll get more resonance. You'll get more trouser flap from a 2x12.
You would, yes, definitely. So here's the thing. And this to me is where Boss missed a bit of a trick with the Katana, and I understand why, because it's a price. It's priced. It's at a price. Is that the one? But you think when you buy the 2x12, you think you get all the stereo effects, and unfortunately they didn't do it. So it is a 2x12 mono coming out of the speakers. Yeah. But if they did that, then they'd have to put a separate power amp in and all that sort of stuff. But there's a great way if you buy two Katana 100s, then you get the stereo effect. So what I would do, first of all, I'd go and buy a 100, the 1x12 100, and then when you can afford it, go and get another 100 and then connect them up. And it's a special way of connecting it at the back, and then you get the full stereo width of both Katanas, and they sound amazing. Nice. It sounds like, you've spent thousands and thousands on your rig.
So then you get like a really big heavy duty elastic band, slap one to that ear and that one to that ear, exactly. Elastic band them round your head.
Exactly.
And you'll destroy your hearing forever.
It's true though. It's true. I mean, it's a really good sound. James brought over, because James has got the 2x12. It does sound good. And I've got the 1x12.
Was it a lot heavier, weight wise?
It's a bit heavier. Yeah, it's a little bit heavier. I mean, no, it's quite a bit heavier, but it's not like picking up an AC30 or something. It's not like that. It's like, but it really sounded good. And for me, if if you want to go out with a really good stereo rig that's not actually, you know, that much money, awesome.
Cool.
Shahar Bar says stereo versus mono.
Mono.
Stereo. Think of that.
There you go. Next.
No, we can talk a bit more about that. Why mono? Go on. Give me your.
I like to keep it simple. I know we touched on this last week. So for recording, yes, I would use stereo delay and reverb for guitar solos and things. Probably not much else. But for playing live, I don't think that the audience is going to hear much benefit through me agonizing over my stereo patches. Not really. Right. I keep it simple. I take up one channel on the desk so the sound man's happy. And yeah, mono all the way for me. Keep it simple.
For me, I get so much more enjoyment out of a gig when it's stereo. For me, it's all about those, you know, the little stereo, the width and the extra width you get from it. And yeah, the opposite to you, I don't. If the sound man has only got one channel for me, I'll be thinking, you know, what is this sound man? You need a bigger desk. But then, you know, I guess you do a gig with James with his like millions of drums that he takes up and looks like, you know, Neil Peart. And then maybe there is only one channel left.
He's not one of those drummers that insists on an under snare mic for live, is he?
Oh, probably. You should see that. No, he's got about 10 toms. He's one of those, you know, and it's only because he's not here and he can't defend himself. I'm sure he's watching. I'm sure he's watching, and he'll send some comments in a minute. But yeah, for me, it's like, yeah, like a drummer at a gig. I love it. Have you ever seen, who's the drummer that plays with the Fearless Flyers? Oh, what's his name? Have you know Corey Wong's band? Corey Wong and
oh, okay, right, yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
Oh, mate, he's got a bass drum, he's got a snare drum. I don't even think he's got a tom. He's got a hi-hat, and that's what it's about. It's about simplicity, just not having all the other things to complicate stuff. It's like you've got to do everything with that. That to me, I mean, James is a brilliant drummer. Don't get me wrong, he's a great drummer. But you know, you really know, like, when someone turns up like that, they're either incredibly lazy and they don't want to take, you know, much gear around with them, or they're going to be the nuts. Yeah,
pub drummers just need a Ringo kit. That's all they need.
Exactly.
One rack tom, one floor tom, and that's it.
Couldn't agree more with you. Couldn't agree more. And like, two cymbals, no China.
And if you have got a China, put it on the other side to where I'm stood.
Exactly. Stick it on the bass player side. Oh God, I hate those things. I hate those things. That's the cause of tinnitus all day long. David Minogue says, I just had the chance to meet the makers of Humboldt. Oh, interesting. They were super nice, and they had the chance to offer it to Nigel Hendroff, and he was making it sing. It was incredible. Okay. Who's Nigel Hendroff? Do you know Nigel?
No, I've not heard of Nigel Hendroff.
Let's find out. Nigel, I feel embarrassed that I don't know. Hendroff. Is it? Double F. Got it. Okay. So look. Okay. I think he's one of the worship guys in the States. One of the big, probably one of the big. Yes, he's Hillsong. So yeah, he's a Hillsong Church MD. Nice.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that, you know, they sound, you know, say a lot of 90% or 80% of tone is all in the hands. So yeah, I'm sure some people it sounds great, and other people make it sound like a bag of spanners, I'm sure.
Yeah, but John Cordy's pretty tasty. I think
just thinking about his video, he didn't have a problem with the tone of the item. It was just literally that he found it to his ears, the effects loop was malfunctioning in some way. So
okay,
that was his main gripe.
Interesting. I'll get hold of them, see if they can send me one to lend me one to.
They're from South America, I think. Are they from Chile or somewhere? I think the company.
Oh, are they?
I think so. Yeah, somewhere like that. Chile or Bolivia or somewhere like that. Anyway.
Nedamido says, hello, I had the DSM and Humboldt simplifier, and my problem with it was that fuzz, distortion, and even overdrive sound like fuzz. Oh, no.
It's the fluffy quality that you get with an analog cab sim. Yeah.
Oh, that's
especially when you put distortion in with it. It's fine. Like I say, it's fine for cleans. Even edge of breakup stuff, it's fine. As soon as you start getting heavy with it and chugging, it just sounds fluffy.
Interesting. And he says, but that could be me just not being able to set it up.
No, I don't think so. I find that with analog cab sims.
Interesting. There we go. Andy Guitar Live says, good evening, Paul. Good evening, Lee.
Good evening.
There we go. Paul Taylor says, actually, how come we haven't got our names above us? I don't know what's going on there. Hold on. Give me 2 secs. We'll work this out. Hold on. No?
We've gone extra large there. I don't need any help with going extra large. I can do that myself.
Paul Taylor says, it's nice. It's got a nice Les Paul there like that. Paul Taylor says, hi, Paul. I have a Hotone Britwine Legacy floor amplifier.
Yeah.
I've got it as a backup if my Marshall DSL lets me down at gigs as a backup. Would you like to review it if I send it to you? Thank you, Paul. Lee, so Lee knows a lot about this sort of Hotone, the Chinese sort of gear. So
yeah,
so you tried it?
Yeah, no, I've never tried it, but this is another one of these floor-based things where it's got like a preamp and I'm guessing some kind of solid-state power amp built into it, all in the single floor unit, and you literally just plug it straight into a regular guitar cab.
Ah, okay, so it's like the Seymour Duncan Colt 45, they called it.
Yeah, that's right. The only thing that I thought about going down this route at one point. The only thing that puts me off is the size of the power transformer that you need to take around with it, because it's one of these things that runs off 24 volts and loads of amps. So you end up getting one of those power adapters which has got like the big plastic black brick halfway down the cable. You know, what's the point of making a compact pedal that takes up hardly any room when you have to take a power adapter which is the same size as the pedal?
That makes a lot of sense.
I understand why they have to do it, because they need the juice to power the solid state amp which is in it, but you know.
Well, what's the your actually? I know you've got the preamp version, but you know Victory make the V4s, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Is that like an IEC, or is that?
It's all built. It's all built in, and it runs off a kettle lead.
See, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's really good. I'd like to try one of them. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for the offer. I tell you what I'll do. The thing is, it's a really nice offer, and I would be very up for you if you were down the road and all that, and you want to come over. I think that would be great. The only thing is that just in case it gets lost in transit or something like that, I wouldn't want you to be without it, or something happened, you got a last minute gig and then your amp went down and I got it. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I will send Hotone a message tomorrow and see if they can lend me one for a review, and we'll have a look at it. So I've written myself a little note.
They make quite a few different versions of that kind of stuff, actually.
Do they?
Yeah, they do like I think they do one called a Purple Wind or something, and yeah, there's all kinds of different flavors. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Dave Minogue says there is plenty of gain in the Humboldt. Full stereo comes with foot switch. Can be a 2-channel amp or a full stereo rig. Great reverbs. Stereo loop, bypass signal out, headphone out, everything.
Yeah, you say plenty of gain. I think there'd be plenty of gain in it for Paul. There wouldn't be plenty of gain in it for me, I don't think. That's the difference.
Oh, really? Do you think you use more gain? I always think that I use like lots of gain. Do you not? You use more gain than me, do you? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've heard you talk about the Friedman BE pedal that you had for a while, and you got rid of it. Too much gain in it. That's an ideal sound for me. I love that.
Oh, sound. Is it? Okay, perfect.
That's my go-to chunky hard rock sound.
It's a good sound. There's nothing wrong with that sound. Richard Paul says, I use the Humboldt 4 cable method with line 6 HX effects. Such powerful, small, full stereo rig. Great
yeah,
show.
I can see combining it with something else. Yeah, it would be a really good move. And can you run IRs from the HX effects?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then, yeah. I don't know if there's a way of switching the Humboldt cab off though. I don't know.
Well, that could be the ideal solution, couldn't it? To to actually use it as just the preamp sort of side of things, or the the non-IR sort of side of things. Yeah. Excellent. Pet says, will I need to add another Apollo interface to accommodate another attenuator for my second amp? Only one digital input on my twin, which is used for an aux already. So you've got a twin.
This guy's got more money than NASA, isn't he? I mean, he's what has he bought recently? He's bought a Fender Princeton and a Bad Cat, and
he's got some good gear. He's got some good gear. Yeah, much respect, I would say.
You won the Euro Millions, Pet, didn't you? That's what
I would, if you've got a twin and you want to run, well, it depends. Do you want? I think you want a microphone. You want to sing as well, don't you, Pet? So you could run your digital input out of one aux, and then you could run into the microphone inputs. Hold on, what you could do, there's a better way of doing this. Get yourself an ADAT adapter. So what you can do, you can buy, I think Focusrite do one. Basically, you can run a bunch of ADAT inputs, which have come out of the back of your aux. I think it's got ADAT out. Pretty sure. And then you could use your twin. You could use the other 8 inputs or 4 inputs, depending on how you're setting it up. Pet, send me a message, and we'll have a chat, and I'll go through. I'll have a look tomorrow about what you could get for that. But it might be worth us having a phone call over it, because I think there's going to be a few different options. And I think if you don't want to go down all that sort of faffy route, I would personally sell your twin and either get a quad.
Is it one of those you're talking about?
Oh, Behringer make one. Are they? Is that is it an ADAT? What's it called?
Yeah, it's an ADAT. Behringer ADA.
Yeah.
8200.
Okay, I remember the old 8000. Let's have a look. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Okay, let me share this. Let me share the stream.
And they've got the Midas preamps in it, so it's going to sound good.
Oh, nice. Let me.
And it's less than 200 quid.
Look at that. Let me share the window, and I'll go there. There we go. So Lee was looking at this. So what you've got there, what you can do with this, Pet, is to take it hasn't got the rear view of it. You could take a cable, a single ADAT cable, out the back of this, and then run it into your twin, and then use the analog out of your aux boxes to go into 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you've got 8 inputs, and that would be a great option. And then you could, then you've still got your preamps on the Apollo if you still want it. I think that's a great option. Look at that, 177 quid.
Yeah, I've used one of those for drum recording in the past, and they're absolutely fine.
Great. Yeah, it wouldn't bother me. I think for doing that sort of stuff, I think it'd be great. And it's, and those Midas preamps are great.
Yeah.
Look at that. God, that's cheap, isn't it? Brilliant. So that is what we would do. Would you do the same?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's not really a field that I'm into, but yeah.
So yeah, it's if you don't mind like another unit being attached, Pet, I think I'd do that. Other than that, I would go and get another Apollo. But as I said, if you want to give me a call, mate, tomorrow, we can talk through it, and I can tell you all the pluses and minuses of everything. Pet also says, problem with buying gear, it leads to needing more gear. It's so true. Might knock it on the head and go back to classical gas on the nylon.
Yeah.
Good man. David Bro says, hello, chaps. I want to enter the IR world through a pedal. Lee's your man for this. What's your recommendation? Something basic but good.
My recommendation is you go and get the TC Electronic Impulse, which I haven't got anymore, but it's a tiny little pedal, one of the TC Mini range. And it comes with a load of IRs already loaded, and it's got some of the Celestion ones in it already, which do sound great. Or you can load your own, and you can load, I think it holds 99, I think. So you're not going to run out of options anytime soon. And it's got a high and a low cut as well. So you can boost or cut the lows, or boost or cut the highs as well if the cab is not quite to your taste. And you can also flick between two different cabinets as well on the foot switch. So the foot switch has got two different modes. It's got on-off mode, and it's got A/B mode. So you can have one cab on the A and another cab on the B. So if you used a cab for clean sounds and a different cab for overdriven sounds, you can flick between them on the fly.
That's
brilliant. And it's about 80 quid, I think. Or maybe it's about 100 quid. I think it's not much more than 100 quid anyway. So.
And I guess it's mono, is it?
It's mono, yeah. Its ins and outs are very simple. It's just one in, one out. But it runs off 9-volt, so easily incorporated into any pedal board. And I did a pretty quick and dirty kind of sonic test between an IR in a door and an IR in the pedal, and they sound identical. And there's no latency, not that I could tell anyway. It may have been a millisecond, probably less than a millisecond. So
yeah, there'll be something, but yeah, if you can feel it or not. Nice one, great. Well, I hope that helped, David. Thomas Nonsense says, I bought the Keeley Halo. Oh, nice. And I'm disappointed because I thought it would make me play like Andy Timmons. By contrast, I bought a Universal Audio Aux and have no trouble playing like a large bovine.
Yeah, well, yeah, same with all of this, I'm afraid.
Nice one. Yeah. Nice one. Well, the Halo. Yeah, I'd like to try the Halo. Do you know there's an update that's coming out for the Axe-Fx, which is Halo. It's got the Halo delay and Andy Timmons BB preamp, which I've actually got the little pedal, the Andy Timmons BB preamp thing.
Is the Axe-Fx still top of your pile?
Absolutely love it. I can't.
Really?
It's yeah. I mean, I'm normally bored by now. I'm normally
it's been about 6 weeks now, isn't it? Is it 6 weeks or so?
It's mega. It's mega. I use one patch.
Wow. And
it's got different scenes in that patch. It does everything that I need. It sounds fantastic. I love it. Absolutely love it. Where are we? Pet Mason Williams would appreciate that. Mason Williams.
Is this the?
Okay. Yes, I see. Very good.
You're right. Okay, going back to 9 on. Yeah.
Thomas says you start at 5 a.m.
Oh, where's that? Brisbane? Is that Brisbane?
I think he said Brisbane.
Yeah.
We definitely get. We've got a few watches from Brisbane. Pet says, Keith, cheers, buddy. I've sold all my furniture and bedding. I sleep in the studio with the amps. Mrs. hands to the floor. Yeah,
it's the only way to go. Yeah. Sell all your gear, sell everything you own, and go and live under a bridge.
Absolutely. Pet says Chemical P until he hears my rendition.
Yeah.
Okay. Wobbly Guitarist, your rock sound would be compressed more due to the amount of gain. That's true. That is true.
I guess so. Yeah.
Overdrive is definitely a form of compression.
Yeah.
And distortion even more so. Shahab says, I also have gas, but not for gear. Just plain run-of-the-mill flatulence fueled by eggs and onions.
Move on.
Nasty. Coincidentally, he's 84 today. I'm guessing talking about
Mason Williams, was it?
There we go. The Pauls does single coil also.
Is this the Paul's guitar?
Yes, it's not. Okay, yes, well done. Yes, it's not quite single coil. It's a split. It's not a tap, is it? Is it tapped? I can't remember which one. They are different. single coils, PRS single coils, PRS split sounds are fantastic. They're not a single coil. It's basically what they do is they take one of the coils from the humbucker and then add in some other coils of one of the other humbuckers. So it's not a true single coil. It do sound different. But, you know, it's good emulation. Pet Moxie, Keith, I plan to play it through. I can't play it through Note Perfect by 84. I've got 44 years, assuming the Reaper don't have other plans.
We're not contemplating our own mortality now, surely.
Yeah. 14 years for K. Michael P. Looking good on it. As I believe, Blackmore only used the neck and bridge on a Strat, and even having just a dummy pickup in the middle position. There we go. Nice.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Chemical P learned classical gas when he was 15. Wow, check that out. The Understanding Wife. Joe Penhero. Following the Forever Amp Quest, did you ever end up looking into the PRS DG30? I think it's very much your style of amp and does have reverb. No effects loop though. No, I didn't. It's really funny. You don't get many PRS amps over in the UK. Anderton sell a few.
Yeah, is it the Archon? Is that one of theirs?
Yeah, the Archon, which is like the metal amp, very much like I mean, it's not like a Boogie rectifier, but it's a more modern version of that sort of thing. And the what was the little one? The Mark Tremonti 15. That's a great sounding amp. You'd love that.
Yeah, that's a good amp. That is a very good amp.
Sounds great. Monster game on that.
Well, I went to I won't say which shop it was, just because of what I'm about to say, but I went to try one out at a guitar shop.
Yeah.
And there was a young lad who was showing me, you know, I said, "Oh, I'd like to try the Tremonti 15," and he said, "Oh yeah, that's a great amp, mate." Yeah, and we go over to it, and he said, "Oh, it's not plugged into any cab at the moment. I'll just go and get a cab." He said, "Oh, but I'll switch it on now just to warm it up." I was like, "You what, mate? Don't do that." And he got really offended when I said to him, "Honestly, mate, switch it off." And he was like, "Why? Well, I'm just warming it up." No, mate, come on. You work in a guitar shop.
Apparently there are certain amps that you don't have a problem unless you actually play something through it. It's the actual volume that goes through it. But yeah, I mean, there are definitely some amps. I mean, you should never do that anyway. You never plug it.
No, that's utter madness. You could have destroyed a very expensive amp.
Yeah, absolutely. No, so Joe, no, I haven't tried the DG30. I would really like to. I had the opportunity of getting someone wanted to swap for the Bad Cat actually a PRS amp, and it was done in that. Have you ever seen some of those artist guitars or the PRS do, and you get like the case comes in like a, what do they call it? The Paisley comes like a Paisley pattern.
Okay. Yeah.
Really, really nice Paisley they put on it, and it was an amp that was covered in that. It looked great. Yeah, I didn't try it out. I should have done. Thomas Ross, thanks. Anytime. Alec Bourne's in the house. Evening, everybody. Evening, Alec. Wobbly guitarist. Nate Smith, thank you. That's the drummer from.
Okay. Yeah, from Corey Wong's.
So just like absolute powerhouse, and just proper groove. Brilliant. My favourite sort of drummer. Wobbly guitarist. My drummer has 4 toms, 12 cymbals, and pads. We only have one space left on the desk for my quad. Oh, mate. you need to have a word with it. Because that's too much. No.
I'll tell you what, the singer in our cover band tells me the story about the drummer they had years ago, where I'm not quite sure why they had to cut down on space on stage or maybe something to do with the desk. But he said the singer tried to say to the drummer one night, he said, "Just don't do you really need all those toms?" And the drummer said, "Well, I only hit that tom in, you know, Dancing in the Moonlight." So right, okay, we won't play Dancing in the Moonlight then, so you don't have to bring that drum.
Great. Yeah, you just go around in you just find a set list that doesn't use any toms, I think. Yeah, that worked great. Yeah, drummers, bloody drummers. Jonathan McCulloch says, great advice, thanks, gents. The Mesa Boogie speaker is a Celestian Black Shadow. There we go.
Shadow, that was it, not Widow, Shadow.
Oh, Shadow.
Close,
okay.
close.
I hope you had a chance to check out one of my many improvs. Luke is currently playing over Kingdom of Desire. Brilliant. So that, I hope you have had a chance to check out one of my many improvs. Oh, you'd have to send us that. Is that something that you sent us, Jonathan? Because I haven't seen any of your improvs. I'd like to see it, so please send them.
Anything with Lukather involved is going to be good.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah. My favourite guitar player. Brilliant player. Nedamido says DSM and Humboldt are in fact from Chile.
Chile, that's it. Yeah, I know it was around there somewhere.
It's pretty. The Simplify is pretty good, but I can't play shoegaze through it. There we go.
Get a fuzz pedal.
Get your fuzz and loads of reverb. Everything's good. Hello, gents. Paul, have you tried the Vailton GP200?
Ah, yeah.
See lots of good reviews, great value and sound. I respect your review, so would like to hear your view. Cheers from Canada. What is the Vailton?
So the Vailton GP200 is a fairly sizable multi-effects, but it's not sizable in terms of price. So they started off with this this run of GP models with the GP100, and I had the GP100. It was a tiny little 2-button multi-effect with a tiny little expression pedal, and it was actually very, very good. You could put your own IRs in it, and it sounded great. I didn't quite like the delays and reverbs in it; they weren't up to much. But yeah, this is the new bigger brother. This is the 200, and I think you can pick these up brand new from Anderton's for $299. I think.
Awesome.
And the thing I like about this is this has got proper professional grade ins and outs. So you've got stereo XLRs on the back of this unit, plus you've got unbalanced jacks as well. You've got USB-C connectivity.
Right. Oh, nice. Good.
Yeah, and does all the usual things. Notice how the buttons on the back row are taller than the buttons on the front row.
That's genius. That's a genius idea.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? And do you know what? I've got, like I said earlier in the video, I've got a few days.
It lights up.
I'm not sure whether that's just in the image or what. Yeah, look at that I/O. You scroll down, look at that I/O. That's proper professional grade I/O. That is.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah. And you know, as I said at the top of the video, I've got a few days off from work. I'm tempted to take a trip to Anderton's to try one out.
Is it? Is this? Is it one of these things that's available on Amazon, or is it? Are they trying to do it through the retailers?
I think it's retailers only. I've not spotted it anywhere, and I think I could be wrong in saying this, but I think Anderton's have more or less got the monopoly in the UK.
Here we go. You can get them on. You can get them on.
Yeah, is it in stock though?
Yeah, by Friday. So
okay.
$295.
Oh, and it's £4 cheaper as well. £5 cheaper.
There you go. $289.
$289. Oh wow. Okay. They're out of stock though.
They're out of stock, but $295. There you go. Nice. No, I haven't even checked it out.
So I think the amp models are really good in it, and couple it with your own favorite IRs, you're going to get a great sound. Like I say, the only question mark I'd have is that I didn't like the reverbs and delays in the GP100 that I had. I felt they were a bit amateur.
Right.
Hopefully they addressed them through a software update, but I didn't keep the unit long enough to find out. So I'd have to listen to that before I'd buy it again. The GP range. But
did it have? Has it got? It has got an effects loop.
Yes.
See, this for me, this is. Oh no, I'm going to go back. Let's share the screen again. This for me is a. Some of these companies really miss things. So it's a stereo. Right, it's a stereo unit.
Yep.
With a mono effects loop. Why?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know why?
Yeah. Some of them are stereo effects loops now, but obviously these guys have not put a stereo one on this one, have they?
Yeah, it's a shame because well unless it's a TRS, which it could be. It could be TRS.
Yeah, that some of the new Hotone models have got TRS stereo effects loops. Yeah.
Yes.
What is there much call for a stereo send?
Well, and only from what you were saying, the delays and the reverbs aren't great. So not for you, no, not for you. Who would go out, but for me, who'd want to use,
if you wanted to use external stereo pedals, fair enough. No, I mean, hopefully, maybe in this operating software they've addressed that and they've put some really decent. What I used to find with the delay in the GP100 that I had is that to get the mix of the delay up to a level where you could actually heat, because I like the first repeat of the delay to be the same volume as my tone. So I have my tone, then the first repeat is the same volume, and then it starts to tail off. And the more I turned the volume up to get it to match my dry signal, the more it would distort. The delay sound would actually sound distorted.
Right.
And I thought, no, I can't gig with that.
That's no. Why do you do that? I mean, do you do lots of U2 tunes or something? What?
Not really. I just like to hear it. And in the cacophony of a live band, I sometimes think that delay trails really get lost.
They do.
I like to really hear it. I like to hear at least the first one. And I just think it adds a bit. I guess it's pseudo as well, but to me it feels like there's a bit more sustain going on, especially if I'm holding a note.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. I'll look into it. Cheers, John.
Yeah, I like the look of them. I think they look a pro unit, and if the sounds all stack up, you get a good pro unit for not a lot of money.
That's great. Yeah, it's good price. Pet says, Lee standing in for James. No lottery winning, just humble self-employed painter and decorator. There we go. That's why. God, you see what
sensible mortgage. Sensible mortgage. That's where I'm going wrong. You see, because I've got a completely silly mortgage.
Have you?
Yeah.
And no other hobbies to spend cash on. Used to teach at college, but prefer. Great. Yeah, well, we've got painters and decorators around here charge a fortune, mate. So well done. Nice job. He says, working for myself and being covered in paint and dust all day. Just wait to get him and plug in. Nice one.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Pet
says, cheers, Paul. Good to know. I can give you a bell. I was going to add an X6, but that and another Ox or Wazza is a lot of coin. Yeah.
And you've spent a lot of coin already.
Yeah, but keep spending. Keep spending. If you can afford it, I think, and if it makes you happy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Go. Yeah. So I'm looking at getting another guitar, and I'll obviously because I need more content for the channel and that sort of stuff. So I'm thinking of should I I tell you what I'll do. I think I should probably get one of these. I'll get one and then I'll give it away on a competition, because they're not that much, are they? How much are they?
169 for the one with the humbucker and the bridge. If you get the triple single core one, I think it's 20 quid cheaper or something.
Okay, I'll buy one of them, do a review on it, and then we'll give it away as a competition thing or something.
Have you got any news? You've normally done news by now.
Yeah, I know, but it's all flowing, and there's there's a few questions going. Yes, I have. There's not a lot going on, but I will. I know people do like the news bit, so let's do that. So Godin have released a new guitar. It's a bit of an odd one.
Quite nice. I quite like it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think with Godin, the only thing is it's just this. I can't quite get the telly-ish body and the acoustic headstock, because that's what it looks like. It looks like an acoustic.
Yeah. I like the twin humbucker and the non-locking trem setup and everything.
Yeah. Good. So the thing that Godin are really good at is their acoustic. Like a piezo pickup they put in it, and it's got one of them. The only thing is, it's is quite expensive.
Right.
Here we go. It's 2,250, but for Godan, that's quite a lot of money.
Right.
And I personally think if someone's going to be looking to spend that sort of money on a guitar, are they really going to be looking at Godan?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, this is interesting. So,
yeah, I saw this.
Yeah,
this didn't impress me much.
I
think they're being a bit ambitious with the price they think it will get as well.
And okay, so just for the listeners, so this is the Monkey Wrench, Foo Fighters Monkey Wrench, the guitar that Dave Grohl used on the video. I think Pat Smear used it in the actual recording. It's coming up for sale at Gardiner Houlgate, however you pronounce it, which is just for the non-UK people. It's our auction site that deals with sort of guitar auctions and that sort of thing. Well, what's the price? So go on, tell me about it. What's the price they're hoping to get for it?
I thought I read somewhere that they were thinking it was going to go for 30,000.
Oh, I think that's steep. You'd have to be.
There you go. Auction.
Oh, look, it says it there.
Like 15 to 30 grand. Nah, I don't
think that's going to go for that. I reckon that. I mean, it could go for. You'd have to be a pretty rich Foo Fighters fan, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they're probably hoping to get someone. Do you remember when David Gilmour sold a lot of his guitars off?
Yeah.
And the Black Strat was bought by a guy who owned one of the big baseball teams or something in America.
Yeah.
So someone of that kind of standing who's got millions to burn, maybe. Big Foo Fighters fan, maybe, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Is it a charity thing? Because obviously Foo Fighters don't need money.
No, I don't know whether it's a charity one. They showed some photo of the guitar being played by, was it what's her name? I can't remember her name now. Taylor Swift or someone.
Oh, okay.
Sat there strumming it or something, as if that was going to be, well, there's an extra $5,000 because Taylor Swift had her hands on it or something like that.
Yeah, not really going to appeal to the guitar market, is it? Having Taylor Swift strum it. Right, and I thought this was interesting. So Gibson, I don't know what's going on, but Gibson have got 2 custom shop guitars that they've dropped the price of, quite substantially. Well, a 61 SG, so it's got the old vibrola sideways. Yeah. Well, it's different with this one. Actually, wiggle it that way. You don't wiggle it. You don't
really.
It. Yeah, so it's quite awkward to play. Most people that have actually got one of these tend just to flip it back and just use it as a just don't even bother with it because it was such a bad design. But it's a classic sort of design. And so that they've knocked off, this is the new price, they've knocked off, it was €4,000 or 4,000 euros, and they've knocked it down to 3,333 euros. So 666 euros off. So if you're looking for
I guess that's right for a guitar that's got the devil's horns on it, I suppose, isn't it?
Maybe that's why they're doing that. Yeah, maybe that's why they're doing it. Interesting. But it makes you think, why are they doing it?
Yeah, because they're not selling.
Yeah. Right, this one.
Yeah.
Are you a Grateful Dead fan?
Yeah, some of their stuff is good. Yeah.
Right. That to me is a wrong one. That's an absolute wrong one.
I'm just having a look at that headstock. Have they done the thing? Is that like a cigarette burn in the?
Oh yeah, it's got a couple of cigarette burns, and it's also got looks like Grandma's a door handle on it as well as a string tree. I mean that is. I mean,
it looks like a teenager's first guitar with all the stickers all over it, and
yeah. I mean, I get the provenance of Jerry Garcia's guitar and all that, but
I guess they're probably when they're sat around in the boardroom. I guess what they're probably thinking to themselves is, how can we make a lot of money very quickly, So if we take someone like Garcia, who appealed to kids in the 70s, 1970s, those kids are now sort of 60-year-old company directors,
right,
and have got an absolute ton of cash. Their kids have grown up and left home. Their mortgages are paid off. They're earning the biggest salaries in their lives that they've ever earned. What can they spend their money on?
I think you've actually hit the Fender Custom Shop or the master built clientele. You know, buying public. I think you just hit it on the head. It's exactly what they're looking to sell to, or who they're looking to sell to.
So in the next 10 years, there'll be a Clapton one of these for all the kids from the 80s who liked Clapton in the 80s, who are now 60-year-old company directors, and then there'll be a Kurt Cobain one. And then, do you know what I mean? It will just go on and on and on. Yeah,
it's a. I mean, oh man! I mean, even that's a wrong one as well. That is. But look at the bridge on that thing.
Yeah, it doesn't look great, does it? I don't like the plate. I don't like the brass plate behind the knobs either.
No, that's.
Having said that, I like the finish. The wood finish looks nice.
Do you? You like that?
Yeah. I've always had a soft spot for a natural wood finish guitar.
What, 20 grand soft spot?
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, exactly. You see, I'm not a 60-year-old chief executive of ICI, so it's a bit out of my range.
But yeah, it just looks like if that guitar didn't have, if it wasn't played by Jerry Garcia and it was, Joe Bloggs down the road that then, modded his 1954, 58 Strat. I mean, that would be worth next.
And probably the saddest thing of all is that when these guitars are actually bought by these people, they're not going to be played, are they? They're just going to be either hung on a wall or put on a stand in the lounge.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You're right. I mean,
it'll never be gigged.
Yeah, I think you're dead right there, and I think that's where a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of PRSs end up. Because they're such a pretty. It's almost like a piece of furniture, and it's a cliche, but the dentist, they go into a guitar shop and it looks amazing and it's stunning and it looks amazing on your wall, and that's what they buy it for. And
a mate of mine has done the same thing. He's terrible for it, and I've berated him for it as well. But he's a graphic designer. He earns a lot of money, and he bought the Alex Lifeson White 335.
Oh wow!
He also bought the blue Gibson Dave Grohl.
Did he? Oh God, I want one of them.
But he can't play guitar, so they're in his lounge on stands.
Oh man, they go for so much money now. Those Dave Grohls. They're like, second. I mean, you can't buy them new. I don't know how many they made, but they're 10 grand if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Say la vie. So I thought we'd have a quick look at this.
Yeah.
This is we just talking about this. Gardiner Hallgate is our auction company that deals with all the big amps, and this is someone mentioned it last week.
Oh, this is the Gary Moore lot, is it?
Yeah. So there's a load of things on here now.
Is that Marshall on the left-hand side? Is that the one that was on the cover of Still Got the Blues?
Yeah, well, it's that model, yeah. The Blues Breaker, yeah, the JTM 45. Now they're saying that it's the estimate is £500 to £1,000. I mean, there's no way that if that was the amp that was on Still Got the Blues, there's you're talking
blimey.
Multiples of that, but
that's a bargain.
But anyway,
well, even if that's never going to go for 500 quid, though, is it?
No way.
It's going to go way more than that.
Yeah.
I bet James would probably pay double that to start off with.
He would. He definitely would, mate. You're not wrong there. They've got a 84 4210, which is a JCM 800 1x12.
Right.
and they're saying £300 to £600 on that. And do you know what I mean? If Gary Moore has played through that, I'm having that for that price. But it's no way it's going to go for that price. It's got a little model class 5.
Yeah, that's the 5 watt.
Yeah, good. Good little fun little thing, especially the original ones, which I think that is.
Yeah.
It's one of the older models. It's really good. I mean, come on. They were really digging out its drawers, weren't they?
What's all that about?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a fun thing to have, but Gary Moore never. Yeah, they're pile of crap. They're absolute crap, those things. Yeah. It's got 1960s Selma Futurama.
Wow, look at that. Cool. That's a proper old sideboard, isn't it?
Yeah. Big old lump. I mean, that box, that's the same as that, basically. Absolute pile of crap.
Plastic thing, yeah.
Pile of crap. I mean,
Galania Kruger. Look at that.
Yeah, remember them?
Yes, that is the sound of Iron Maiden in the late 80s. There.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, you're right. And it was stereo as well. It had stereo effect. It's really good. It could be interesting. And I love these old Arion tuners.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That basically, they never used to work for me. Things are always breaking down. But there's two of them here, and it's got a bunch of pedals. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I thought was interesting. A couple of fuzz faces I think are interesting.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good investment.
Right.
And then you've got the Gary Moore Digitech Bad Monkey.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
did he use that as a paperweight in his office? Or?
Exactly, mate. That's exactly what he used that for. Though I think they're really sought after.
Apparently,
those sort of collectible ones.
I don't know why.
Nah, horrible things. Anything else? This I thought was quite interesting. Dinosaural, who is? Do you know who Dan Coggins is?
No.
Dan Coggins is. He basically now works with Adrian Thorpe from Thorpe FX.
Right.
And he does a lot of those designs.
Mm-hmm.
Dinosaural was his first or second company. I don't know which one, but that's a good pedal. That's quite a good.
How much is that likely to go for?
Well, it says 80 to 120.
No, that's not a lot of money, is it?
No, and I think that's a good pedal for that. He's got a couple more fuzz faces.
You liked his fuzzes then? Or perhaps he was just given them and they just ended up in a cupboard.
I think you're right. I think if you're Gary Moore, I think you've probably just given up quite a lot of stuff. But again, there's some good collectible stuff here.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, so some of these are, 50 to. I mean, these things are going for a lot of money now, even though they're not great, but they're. It's got
the pod.
There's
the
pod.
How much is the pod on for?
50 to 100.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
That's good. The DL4 is good.
I heard a story about those DL4s years ago. I wasn't sure whether it was true or well, I guess it was true. I think I read it in a magazine. Apparently Edge from U2, he was a big user of those.
Yeah.
And whenever he found a sound that he really liked, he wouldn't move the knobs at all. The knobs would just stay as they were, and he would buy another one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So he ended up with about sort of 10 or 12 of them, all at different settings, and nobody was allowed to touch the knobs, and they would get taken away on tour and put in rack drawers.
Oh, amazing! I know he used to tour with a couple of the Pod Pros, the rack versions, and and we're still touring with them up to fairly recently. I don't know if he still is.
Wow.
But if you're using it for that specific sound that's on, I don't know,
Streets Have No Name or something.
Yeah. We're not that, but more of the sort of more modern stuff, some of the more experimental guitar sounds.
Oh, okay. Right.
But it's if that's the only thing that does it, that's what you need. And then you want to look at these?
Yeah.
Nice, aren't they?
Yeah.
So what's the story? What's the story with this lot?
Well, I just noticed that Andertons are now stocking these, and I guess they're probably the only UK stockist, and so they've been plugging them quite hard. I just wondered how something like this. I mean, because they're reasonably expensive. They're just over the £2,000 mark, I think, a lot of these guitars.
Okay.
And I was just wondering, because obviously they're competing in a market that's got, like you say, high-end Fenders like Custom Shops and Ultras and Surs and
Yeah.
and expensive PRSs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What is distinctive about these compared to? I mean, look at that. It's $3,500. That one. Well, that's dollars though, isn't it?
Yeah, but even so, after sort of import and all that sort of stuff, it's going to be the same sort of. So, yeah, and I think the thing here is let's have a look at the Tamarack. That's going to be the telly, isn't it? Oh, that's a nice bit of checking though. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
You give me anything that's been relicked a bit, and I'm all over it. What's that on the back there? What's happened there? Like that?
I don't know. Yeah, it's just
Okay, let's go to Anderton's. Iconic guitars. Let's have a look. Okay, so for me, what are they? They're $3,000. Oh God, look at that though.
yeah.
Oh, and it's got reverse
Yeah.
headstock. Oh, I like that. That's really nice. I really like the tellies. I really like the headstock design on the telly. It's slightly off fender. It's got a bit more of a point there.
Yeah.
But the only thing is for me, and this is me just being really picky. There we go. Can we see an image? Come on, I want to see the headstock. Show me the headstock. No, not going to show us. The headstock on the. Let's go back to the Strats. Solana.
We noticed you're visiting from France. I don't think you are.
Really?
That's what it said on that first page.
That's weird. Yeah, the telly headstock. Sorry, the Strat headstock with that weird bit there. Anyway, it's one of those things. It's a preference thing. For me, if you got that sort of money, you're getting into the no, it's the same sort of price as you're just getting into the Fender custom shops.
Yeah.
So what would you buy? Would you buy one of them, or would you, if you had the money to go and buy one, would you buy one of them, or would you buy a custom shop?
Yeah, I think I'd probably buy. Thinking about resale value, I think I'd probably buy a Fender custom shop.
Yeah. And that's what these companies are fighting against, because it doesn't matter if it's better. I mean, you know, like arguably better. It's always going to be competing against custom shop, because you know, as soon as you go, actually, it isn't quite what I wanted, or I'm bored of it now, or it's, you know, you've lost probably at least $1,000-1.5 when you want to sell it.
Yeah.
But they look the nuts.
Yeah, it does look nice. Yeah, it does look nice.
Let's see what Andertons have got in. I think the telly, the Sparkle tellies look awesome. So they're all $3,000. Nice. Oh, that might be.
But they got what kind of spec have they got? Have they got steel frets or?
That's a good question. Let's have a look.
We got locking tuners or anything?
Oh, I mean, look at the neck on that. Hold on.
Yeah, the neck's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh God. Let's have a look.
Now they're all numbered as well. That's to make you feel as though you've really bought something special.
It doesn't. Does it say anywhere? Here we go. Nitro finish, double bound.
Yeah, I'll keep.
No, it doesn't.
We got roasted maple neck. Yeah, keep scrolling. Roasted maple neck.
Jumbo frets. It doesn't say anything about steel frets.
Yeah, they'd say if they were steel, wouldn't they?
I would have thought so. Let's have a quick look.
Okay.
No, I'd have thought it's. I mean, some people don't like steel frets as well, but I mean,
yeah, but they're gonna wear out eventually if they're not steel, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, you know, you don't really get. Or I don't think I've seen any. The nickel frets, medium jumbo.
Right.
But really nice. That's a really nice looking guitar. I mean, if that was a Fender custom shop, that would be at least 4.5. So you're saving. You know, you're saving 1,500 quid.
But only if you're going to keep it forever.
Yeah, if you're keeping it forever, I think that's fantastic. If you're looking for an expensive guitar, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
I might go and have a look at one of them. That's nice.
Cool.
As they're just down the road. Thanks, Lee. Yeah, good Good thought to point them out. Shahar Bar says, Axe-Fx 3 is by far the single greatest, most inspiring piece of gear I've ever purchased. Insane attention to detail. Nice one. Yeah. So Shahar might know more about this than me. When are they likely to release the Axe-Fx 4? Because that's the problem. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I can't think what they can do to this thing to make it any better. But you know, at some point,
well, aren't they concentrating on floorboard versions? Because a new floorboard version has just come out, hasn't it? The FM9.
Yeah, FM9, yeah, which looks really good. Because if you go and buy the floor unit for the Axe-Fx 3, if you go and buy the FC12, I think it's called, which is their 12 pedal unit, I think that's near enough £1,000 just for the foot pedal.
Because I was wondering if you could make, because there's a smaller version of the floorboard. Is it the FM3? I think. I was wondering now the FM9 has come out.
Oh, you mean the actual floor unit? Yeah,
the floorboard version. Yeah, I was wondering if the used price of a FM3 would come down now that the FM9 has come out.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Guitar about a year and a half ago, and they had a second-hand one in, but I think it was £800. So. Yeah, I would have thought so. I would have thought you can probably pick up a bargain. Yeah. The only thing is if you want to, I don't think you can do dual amp setups with the FM3.
That's all right. I don't mind about it.
I mean, I really like the sort of stacking of the amps. But here we go. Lyle Steely says, hello from Phoenix, Arizona. Thanks for all the tutorials. Big help to a newish player. Oh, nice one. Cheers, Lyle. I'm glad you're getting something out of it. Shep said, I use the Apollo Twin with the ADA from Behringer. Preamps are Midas design, not actually made by them, but works great. Can use the outs on the ADA as the Twin is ADAT in only. Hold on. Yeah, that's what you'd want to do. You wouldn't want to go the other way, would you? ADA has to be master. That's all right.
If he's talking about the settings on the ADA, there is a switch on the back that switches it between slave and master.
Is there?
Yeah.
So you can slave. Well, that'd be better.
Yeah.
So you're using your DAs and your ADs from the Apollo. Nice.
But the thing about those, when he's talking about the Midas preamps, is that Behringer make a lot of these chips, which are inside all kinds of things, don't they? If you go and watch that JHS pedals YouTube video where the guy there, Josh, he takes a look at all of the Behringer plastic guitar effects pedals, all the ones that are about 20 to 30 quid each.
Yeah.
And he talks about the chips that are inside these pedals. And he said, he gives a talk at the start about Behringer as a company and Uli Behringer, the guy who started it all. And this, basically, they've got like a Behringer village in China. Yeah. This huge complex where all this stuff is made. And he said this factory is pumping out so much stuff, and the quality of their chips are so good that they're providing a lot of the chips that go into the more expensive gear.
Interesting.
And he did a comparison of, like I say, all these pedals. And there was one particular one that really caught my eye where he compared the Behringer Vintage Tube Overdrive, which is the green one. So you know what kind of pedal it's copying. Oh, and he compared it against an original 808 that he had. And he said, this is an original first run of the 808. So it's like a really sought after version. And he ran it through. He did all these pedals in an A/B comparison. And he said, just listen to this. Through the YouTube video, there is absolutely no audible difference between the 20 quid Behringer and the 808, however much the 808 is worth. And even he was saying, there really is no difference. He said the chip inside this Behringer is going to be probably the same chip which is in a modern day TS9.
Wow, that
interesting video. Go and check it out if you want.
Yeah, I'll do that. Shahar says, do you ever affectionately refer to single coil pickups as hot dogs and humbuckers as hamburgers? Never.
No,
I've never heard that. I like it, Cokes and hamburgers. From now on, that's it.
Is that a guitarist joke? Maybe a
Probably.
really nerdy guitarist joke.
Maybe. I've never heard that. I like it. HP, that's not correct. The 408 pickups have a switching system that does switch down to a true full single coil. It's a tap and not split. Look at the multi-tap pickups for specifics. Clever. So the 408 switched down to a true single coil.
Okay, interesting.
Can't see how it can.
Yeah, because it physically isn't one.
Yeah,
it's a humbucker. It's a humbucker, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, because the coils go around the coils go around the two pole. I don't know. He's a clever. Paulie's just a clever man. If he's done that, I don't quite understand, but excellent, nice one. Yeah, Karim says my looper sounds terrible when I use it with two amplifiers. I already have a mixer laying around that I can use to connect the main outs on the mixer to the amps with the XLR to mono cables. I think if you're doing that, I mean, you really, I think if your looper, but your amplifier, your mixer is going to want to go into a PA speaker, which is a full range speaker. It's got a tweeter and it's got a woofer and it's probably got bass ports as well. That's not a guitar speaker. A guitar speaker is a single speaker, and you don't get the high end response or even the low end response that you get out of a normal full range speaker. I'd probably have a look at getting trying to do something with PA speakers. I'm a bit confused why it doesn't sound good. If you're going into the looper and you're looping guitar, it should sound absolutely fine going into the guitar amps. Yeah. If you're looping other things, yes, if you're looping your voice and then your voice is going into the guitar amp, it's going to sound terrible.
Yeah,
it's the guitar amp speakers are not meant to reproduce vocals or anything else that's got anything past 5K. So you're probably better off going into PA speaker, I would have thought. Oz, hey guys, hello mate, how's it going? I'm regretting trying to pronounce that name. What shaving products do you use?
A razor.
A razor. Yeah, no. I use whatever my wife's razor is, honestly, and then everything else is like that over the top of my head. Nice. Haven't been to a bar, believe it or not. Haven't been to a barber in years. David Brose, the cymbals are the worst part of drummers. Nothing like the kerrang of a beat and ride cymbal in the ears. Neil Peart rules. Pet says, so the Furman came back with no UK plug plus all inputs, a 10 amp, which would mean new plugs to reconfigure plus find extensions.
They shipped it with no UK plug. Naughty.
That is really naughty. But he had the same with his Bad Cat amp. I think that's shipped with some weird.
What are they doing?
Weird plug. Yeah, what's going on there? Nedamido just got my Dodd Corrosa fuzz. It goes from normal to insane. I truly recommend that pedal. It replaced my Fire Red fuzz by Mad Professor, which I like Big Muff, shoegaze, and stoner rock. Here I come. Nice one.
Yeah, cool.
Wobbly says, glad to hear you guys are Luke fans. Also my favorite guitarist. I have a Luke too. Have you ever had one? Never even tried a Luke. I have. The only thing I find about a lot of Ernie Ball guitars is how narrow the neck is, not how thin the neck is. I find it, and I haven't got small hands, but I've got sort of normal sized hands. And I find
so the strings end up being too close together on the fretboard. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, exactly. I don't like a big wide Ibanez fretboard or Jackson fretboard. I Strat fretboard. It's much more narrow than that. Yeah. But nice though. Yeah, the great guitars, and Steve Lukather makes it sound awesome. Perhaps he's only got tiny hands. That's why they make them so small.
Maybe he's only got little hands. Paul, instead of giving away that guitar, you could give away the jam pedals wah.
I don't think he's going to do that.
His design is too hippie for a like of your hairstyle anyway. I take it without having a second thought. Good man. Barbasol. Oh, Shahar's a Barbasol man. There we go. Not a fan of the guitar, but the song Ripple by the Grateful Dead, though. Nice. Pet says, Lee, my first telly is a natural ash finish. Love it.
Nice.
Always
Yeah.
swap back and forth with it. And the Brent Mason. Nice. I'd like one of those Brent Masons. The original was Graham Nash Strat gifted to Garcia. Look at that.
Right.
Gary Waddle says, greetings, fellas. Paul, I watched a video the other day. You're reviewing tellies in the guitar store. Unfortunately, there were no reviews on the Player Plus model. Any thoughts on that model? I don't think I've ever played one, Gary.
Yeah, I had a Telly Player Plus for a little while.
Did you like it?
Yeah, nice guitar. But I think, as I said to you, or I've mentioned on the channel before, I had a regular player, which I thought was great.
Oh, yes.
Gigged it a few times, and it sounded great. Cut through just like a Telly does. Sounded great. Then the Player Plus ones came out, and I thought, oh, I quite like the look of that. You get a few more whistles and bells, and it looks nice, and it's only a few £100 more. And I bought it, chopped in the player along with a bit of cash to get it, took it to a gig, and it didn't sound as good. And I put it down to maybe purely just the saddles. The saddles were different on it.
Did the original player have brass saddles, and the Player Plus had like the modern sort of 80s
Possibly.
standard? Yeah.
I just thought that's not knowing too much about that sort of where the difference in tone comes from, but it felt to me like it was the saddles. And I didn't like it so much so that I went back and got another player again and got rid of the Player Plus.
I would say to Gary, I'd say if you're after a Player Plus, go and try out a few.
Go and try.
Yeah, but don't just play. Oh yeah, I want to try a Player Plus from the shop, and they hand you one. You want to try a few Player Plus, because I went to Guitar today, and I tried two Murphy Lab SGs, 64 SGs, sounded and played completely differently to each other. And I tried two custom shop Fenders. One was a 57 Strat and one was a 59 Strat, I think. Okay, so there are some differences, but one was fantastic and one was like so definitely go and try them out, and you'll find one that you like, I'm sure, Gary. But I mean, they're all great guitars. John McWade says, any thoughts on Nash or LSL? Some say they're parts casters, but having one of each, they're keepers. I had an LSL. Oh man. Right, a Nash guitar. I'd have a Nash guitar any day. Great, really nice guitars. I wouldn't say they're parts casters. They're all made by Nash and LSL are both sort of handmade guitars. LSL for me has got a couple of design flaws. The LSLs don't have string trees. They don't use string trees.
Right.
And the break angle from the nut to the neck on the E string and the B string is not right.
Too shallow.
Too shallow. And they need to use string tree. Use a string tree. It's not hard, is it? No. Apart from that, they're great. I do think that LSL pickups, I don't like high output pickups. LSL pickups are so low output for me. If I got an LSL and they're great, they play really nicely. The first thing I would do is change those pickups, put a string tree in. It's fantastic guitar. But that's on the LSLs that I've tried, and I had one for a while, and I didn't get on with it. Mark on the ceiling. What's the biggest gig you've ever done, lads? Well, that's a good question.
Biggest covers gig I ever did was at the Great Dorset Steam Fair in the big main marquee tent. There was probably about 2,000 people in there.
Nice.
And the biggest originals gig I've done was with Galahad in Poland, where we filmed a live DVD at the Wyskopinski Theatre in Katowice. And there was a theatre, so it held about 3,000. Nice.
Mine was probably not the big. I've done lots of sort of festival-y things where there's sort of 10, 20,000 maybe, but biggest gig, Shepherd's Bush Empire. I think that's probably my favourite. So live gigs, stuff. Done lots of sort of telly stuff. But there's obviously that's a bit different. But yeah, festivals. I like festival gigs.
Yeah, festivals are good fun, aren't they?
Yeah. Shahar says the FX3 Turbo that I own is already way too powerful. I hardly go above 70% for insane patches. Look at that. XFX3 Def Leppard uses them. Phil Collins says it's the best his guitar has ever sounded. Then the whole band switched. Look at that.
Yeah, quite a few people are using them now. I think Metallica have gone over to them 100%. So they're using them for their drive sounds and their time-based effects. John Petrucci is using it for his time-based effects now.
Well, just his time-based effects.
He's not using it for drive sounds. He's still on the Mesa Boogie amps for that.
But he's got a Boogie endorsement. So I'm wondering if that's if that's really what he wants to do, or if it's just like a contractual thing.
Possibly. But when they do these rig tours, you look down his rig and he said, I've got a couple of JP2Cs, his own signature model.
Yeah.
And then underneath those is 2 Axe-Fx, and they're there purely for the effects loop stuff.
Oh, interesting. Gary says, thanks for your input, guys. So helpful. Absolutely love your channel and great to be introduced to Lee. Cheers, Gary.
Cheers, Gary.
Thanks for joining us. Jahar says Lee's wearing his influences on his wall. Dark Side Clock. There you go.
Yeah. Which the batteries run out, so it's the wrong time. Don't pay attention.
It's 2:45, mate.
Yeah.
Pet says, cheers for tonight, both. Studio Rex trio from now on, is it? We can put James' screen where the Studio Rex. Yeah, a little James up here. Little James. Thomas Nonson says the JHS YouTube video that Lee was referring to is called What's the Deal with Behringer? I've seen that advertised. Yes. We'll check that out.
It's a good video.
So that's us done.
Cool.
Last one. Hold on. Shahar's in. For what it's worth, I mostly go to metal concerts, and the Kempers are still extremely popular with those type of bands. Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that these units like Kempers, the Quad Cortex, and the Axe-Fx are perhaps leaning towards metal players more than they do lighter sort of overdrive players. For metal, especially the Quad Cortex is all the neural stuff really has been kind of metal type plugins, isn't it? Really, the Rabea, the Petrucci, the Gorgia, whatever it is,
Yeah,
it's all metal stuff, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, well, they did do the Corey Wong one. Yeah, but no, I think you're right. I think most of it is, but I think a lot of metal is still a lot of metal is the metalers have embraced the whole plugin side of things. Even for drums and stuff.
Yeah.
Way more than sort of classic rock or et cetera.
You can't see Joe Bonamassa using a Quad Cortex anytime soon.
Well, I think with Joe Bonamassa, he's if he got any, if he earned money out of it, he'd probably switch, wouldn't he? Bless him. No, I mean, he's a fantastic guitar player, but there's a lot of money making from what Joe Bonamassa does. Right, yeah. Anyway, cheers, guys. Just last one from Joe, and then we'll do that. He said, I wouldn't be surprised to see John Petrucci switches to Axe-Fx for a newer DSP called Cortex since he's recently released a signature plugin with them. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I'd really be interested to know what the deal is with these artists and these plugins. Do they really have that much input into their tone, or are they just paid a wedge to have their name attached to it?
I don't know. Yeah, it's true. It's
I
true.
would have thought, I mean, not being horrible to Neural DSP, but I would have thought that John Petrucci would say, sorry lads, I'm a bit busy to deal with you guys.
It's a money it's a money making thing. It's I think we see like these sort of big bands, even like John Petrucci and Dream Theater. I think we see him as like, oh my god, these, he must be living in a mansion, driving around his Rolls Royce. And actually, it's a very niche, genre of music that probably doesn't sell that much. No. And it's just a different revenue stream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, Shahar, thank you so much, mate. That's really kind of you for your kind gift. That's really nice. Thanks, boss. So Lee, last question. Where can people come and hear your stuff?
So if you go to either Apple Music or Spotify or any kind of streaming platform of your choice, just search for Lee Abraham. I've got about 9 albums up there now that you can go and listen to, and it's all prog nonsense. So if you like your long songs and your prog that harks back to your 70s and a little bit of Marillion melody and that kind of stuff, then I'm your man. There's a few things on YouTube, obviously, where you end up having stuff on streaming platforms. It's also on YouTube as well, so you can do a search for Lee Abraham. Do a search for Galahad as well. We've got some Galahad live material videos on YouTube. Some are a bit better than others, depending on how they were filmed. But yeah, go and check it out.
Nice one. Cheers, Lee. Well, thanks again for joining us, mate. Really appreciated.
Yeah, pleasure. It's always good fun.
Yeah, definitely. That's been really good. It's been a nice change. And we will see you next week, guys, at what does James say? Same bat time, same bat channel, or something like that. We'll see you next week. So cheers, guys. Take care.
See you later.